Hi, Deacon Pat Cole here again. I mentioned the last time in my previous reflection, I'm suffering St. Margaret's withdrawal. Been here since 1966, and as you know, the past few years have been conspicuous by my absence, so I'm so grateful for this opportunity to connect. Last time I talked with you about racism and I shared with you some of my background. I'd like to do that again, not because I'm a particularly interesting guy, but perhaps you can relate to some of the things I'm going to say to you, and we learn from each other. I grew up, I guess by any definition, poverty. I remember being so excited when I was a freshman in high school and we finally got an indoor toilet and a bathroom. No more Saturday night in the zinc tub, and that was true. After I got out of Mount St. Mary's in the mid-'60s and came to Bel Air, things were good. I had a very good life, very comfortable life, very successful professionally and socially and in the community and certainly at St. Margaret's. Things were going easy, almost too easy, doing good stuff. Never really been challenged. I chose what I wanted to do, when I wanted to do it. I always was able to rationalize and dismiss what they call the radical call of the gospel. The rich man to gain heaven, Jesus said, sell everything you have, give it to the poor. And couldn't do that. And forgive 70 times 7. And if I ask you for a coat, take the coat off your back and give it to them. Those things weren't meant for me. They were meant for other people at other times, so I could go along about with my work. I also told you last time, too, unlike Deacon Vic, I need my notes. So forgive me. So, doing good stuff, choosing what I wanted to do, where I wanted to do it, when I wanted to do it. There's a Lutheran clergyman. His name was Dietrich Bonhoeffer. And Dietrich Bonhoeffer was killed by the Nazis in the last days of World War II in a concentration camp. Some people say that he gave his life for a man with a family. That don't know if that's true or not, but it is true that he was a martyr for his faith. Dietrich Bonhoeffer wrote a book called The Cost of Discipleship. And a major part of that book is a concept that he called cheap grace. People who go through the motions, who do good things, don't cause anybody any harm or espouse Christians, but don't do anything that really makes a difference. Don't do anything that makes them comfortable. So for 70 plus years, I certainly was guilty of cheap grace, not doing anything wrong, but not really responding fully to the gospel call. The last several years, my life has changed absolutely significantly. Couldn't be any more different now than it was then. And for the first time ever in my life, I hate to admit to you, I wake up in the morning, what I have to do for others in my life, those whose care has been entrusted to me. So Lord, what would you like me to do today? Help me to do it. And that's a big change for the first 70 plus years. Lord, help me accomplish this today, whatever it is I wanted to do to feather my own nest a little more. So the focus is not on myself anymore. Now, please, I don't tell you this to say what a great guy I am. God only knows every day I slip in a couple days backwards. What I am admitting is, I'm ashamed to admit, that it's taken me 70 plus years to get to this part, to get to this point in my life, and I'm hoping it doesn't take you 70 plus years. Never really letting go, holding on. How many times you and I have driven in and out of the city, for example, driven through all the poverty and the drugs and the crime, and couldn't wait to get back here to our cocoon, and then kind of dismissing it. So, cheap grace again. Several prayers that I prayed all my life, but never really lived. It's a famous prayer of St. Ignatius. Take, O Lord, receive my entire liberty, my memory, my understanding, my whole will, everything I have, you have given me. I give it all back to you to be disposed of according to your will. Give me only your love, your grace. With these I will be rich enough. Will desire nothing more. The first time I met with my spiritual director, Sister Barbara Jean, at the Carmelite Monastery on Delaney Valley Road, she wanted to know about my prayer life. And I said, here's my favorite prayer. It's called the surrender prayer. And she said, yeah, but do you live it? You say it, but do you live it? And she brought me up short in the first 5 minutes of our relationship. And my answer was no. I say the words, but I don't put them into practice. Went to nothing but Catholic school from kindergarten through college, and every day, at least through high school, was the morning offering. Lord, I give it all to you. And you take control of my life this day, and may everything I do be in response to your call to me. And another thing, my favorite prayer, one of my favorite prayers is Francis, Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. So we say all those words, beautiful words, but do we live them? You know, is ours what Bonhoeffer called the cheap grace? So don't just say the prayer, live the prayer. Let me give you a suggestion. Get out of your comfort level. Look for something significant to do for somebody else. Something that's going to cost you something. And not to do it just once in a while when it's convenient, but to make it part of your life. Something that costs you. You know, I never really understood until the last few years dying to oneself. And you have to do that before you can be born again. Dying to oneself, letting go of everything, your comfort, your faith in yourself, and giving it all over to God. Hard to do, even harder to pull off once you make the commitment to do it. But that's what we're called to do, you and I. It would be painful to take an honest introspection of where we are, to be challenged by Dietrich Bonhoeffer's concept of cheap grace, to see, you know, are we willing to pay the price, or are we living a life characterized by cheap grace? Don't wait 70 plus years like I did. I've been blessed to have been given a second chance to die to self. But benefit from my experience, experience of other people. Take time. This can't happen overnight, but do little things. Give up control. That's the big thing. No longer to be in control. So examine where you are. Is that where you need to be? If you're like me, all those years that I was doing the right things, I knew in my heart that I wasn't able to bring myself to make that big step, to let go and let God, as that saying goes. So figure out what's important. Figure out your psychic, your physical, your emotional, your spiritual energy. How does that get spent? We only have so much of it. Does it get spent on what you want, or does it get spent on what you perceive to be God's call to you? Make that a constant part of your life. And as I say, find something to do. Make it part of your life, something where you're not in control, something that will make a difference in the lives of other people. And oh yes, do it humbly. Don't let anybody know. Nobody knows that you need that you're doing what it is that you're supposed to do. Cost of discipleship. It's a price we have to pay if we're going to fully respond to the gospel call. Read, look up, Google it or whatever. I'm not particularly adept at IT, but check out St. Ignatius' prayer, please, and take it little by little. Read a little bit of it, meditate on it. Read a little bit more. See if you can incorporate it and become that prayer. And check out Dietrich Bonhoeffer's Cheap Grace, or don't have to worry about spelling his name, just Cost of Discipleship, Cheap Grace, and you'll find it. So my prayer for you is that you and I continue to strive to become what it is Christ calls us to be, and that we're willing to pay the price, that we're willing to move out of our comfort level, and that our lives, people look at our lives and can't characterize it as cheap grace. We're people who have let go and let God. So may the Lord bless you and keep you. May his face shine upon you, be gracious unto you. May the Lord look upon you kindly, grant you his peace. Amen. Be well, my friends.